Hello and welcome to everyone who is watching the Written in Melanin channel. Wherever this day may have found you, I'm so glad that you are here. My name is Chelsea and I write books about Black girls who aren't all that nice. And I am here with Rex from Ellipsus, and he is here to talk to us about the amazing, shiny new writing service. That being said, Rex, please introduce yourself for anyone who may have never heard of you before.
I am Rex Mizrach. I'm the co-founder of Ellipsus, longtime writer, and also lead the community in our community. So yes, great to be here.
It's great to have you. So that being said, starting from the beginning, what is Ellipsus?
Ellipsus is a collaborative writing software built for writers that like to communicate, collaborate, and write together.
Love it. I love how succinct that is. Like, that's perfect. That's
Thanks.
perfect. You probably have heard of Ellipsis because I've been talking about it nonstop on the channel since I found out about it. And I will link the video to the Melanin chat where I really talked about finding it and things like that, because I found it when Ellipsis pulled out of sponsoring NaNoWriMo, which, if you don't know, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It's like an organization to get authors writing and to write a novel in a month. If you've heard anyone say that in November, that's what they're talking about. But there's been some controversy around that. We're not going to get it on this video. So go watch the Melanin chat one if you want to know all the ins and outs of that. But I wanted to talk to you about that, Rex. Why did you guys decide to pull out of NaNoWriMo?
Well, I know our history of Nano is a long and storied one. My partner and I have basically been Nano participants for about 10 years, off and on. My first time writing for Nano was in college, and we really loved the organization for a very long time and what they stood for, which was initially to support writers at any stage in their journey. That if you had a dream to write a novel, you could just give yourself permission to do it, right? And it was you compete against yourself to kind of make that happen. And I think that's an incredible goal. Something we always really loved. And, when we founded Ellipsis 2 years ago, we always thought, kind of a pipe dream, wouldn't it be great if we sponsored Nano? Because we found, other writing tools through that as well. Like Scrivener has been a long-term sponsor as well. And so we finally got we're in a position to do that. And we got the month of September to be partners with Nano. And we prepared a lot of great information for that, collaborative writing guides, a lot of fun community stuff. And, the first day, September 1st, we woke up and found the messaging that was put out by Nano. And it took us aback. It kind of shocked us in a lot of ways. And we, sat down immediately and we discussed what to do about it. Because, one of the tenets of Ellipsis that we were founded on that we decided very quickly was that we did not want to include AI into the writing tool, and that we stood against it as writers ourselves as well. And so, very quickly we realized that we didn't really want to stand for an organization that was kind of the antithesis of that.
Yeah, and I personally really appreciate that. I know it's been discussions in many writer communities up until this point of is AI good? Is AI bad? Where do we stand on it? Is there a middle ground, right? And I know a lot of authors, at least in the space that I occupy, are very much generative AI is bad, right?
Yeah.
Regular AI that we've been using that's hey, you spelled this word wrong, not so bad, right?
Yeah.
There's levels and nuance to the conversation, but I know you guys have a very clear stance on AI on your website. And so I personally found that really interesting when I started to do my research on you guys. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So that being said, you said it's a collaborative feature, right? That's what Ellipsis is focused on. Is that what's kind of sparked the idea of creating Ellipsis? Where did that come from? How do we get here to where we are now?
Basically, about 2.5 years ago, my partner and I decided we wanted to write a novel together.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of went back and forth for a long time on Google Docs. And I'd been using Microsoft Word for about, 15 years because that was the original software that I grew up using. My partner is a big Google Docs person for a long time. He started using it in college. And this is how we worked, right? And we would communicate to each other. We used iMessage, we used WhatsApp for a while, we used Discord for a bit. We would talk obviously together because, we lived together, and we had so many different ways of doing this work, but it never quite gelled and it always kind of fell apart, right? Especially when it came time to do kind of edits on the work we were doing day to day, we would lose comments like context and so on. We would kind of lose the train of thought. All of the research documents were in, Word, and then all the collaborative stuff was happening in Google Docs. And, my partner has also been working in different tech jobs for a long time, and he learned to code. And we decided, there are some really interesting ways that coders have kind of gotten around it with things like Git style branching and merging, right?
Mhm.
And that was a really interesting feature. We realized, why isn't this for text? Like, why can't we integrate changes in a little more seamless way and also kind of communicate more effectively when we're collaborating? And so that's where the genesis of Ellipsis came from. We really sat down also and just thought what would be the best version of a text editor for us, period. Not just for collaboration, but just like what felt comfortable for us as creative writers to kind of work in. The kind of analogy I always kind of give out for Google Docs is that it feels like you're in an office with like the terrible halogen lighting above you. It never feels like a creative space.
Yeah.
And Scrivener is something that I've used kind of off and on before, but it always felt like there were so many different bells and whistles and so many different things to learn to kind of feel comfortable in it.
Yeah.
The learning curve is like that,
Straight up, actually.
Yeah, exactly. And I like simpler tools. My partner also likes simpler tools, but we like things that are simple and also powerful, that are useful, that have a lot of kind of subtle, grace to them as well. And so we really started designing something that we thought would be really interesting. And so eventually, we started building it.
I love that. I love that it came from a place of, hi, we are writers and we need something that works more functionally for us, because I feel like Scrivener is one of those softwares that's been around for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has, to some extent, when you get serious about writing and you really start looking into like software, Scrivener's like the first thing that pops up. But
Yeah.
like you mentioned, the learning curve is steep. I tried Scrivener. It was not for me, like
Yeah.
at all, mostly because of the learning curve. And I was like, I just want to be able to like type. I love that you can do so much with it, but I do feel like to a certain degree, you get to a point where you're like, this does too much that it's gotten away from what I came here to do, which
Yeah.
is to write a story. And
Exactly.
so I found like other softwares, like, my main one that I use right now is Dabble, but I'm
Mhm.
always looking for something new, something different, something that's really going to like, I don't say scratch that itch, but like really be like, this is what I came here to do. This is what it's focused on. And that's part of the reason why I really enjoyed Ellipsis, because when you open it, right, for those of you listening or watching this video, whatever, when you get into Ellipsis, once you sign up for it, it's just like it throws you into a document, which is really nice because that's what you're there to do. And it's very straightforward. I'm not gonna say there are no bells and whistles, because you guys do have a lot of features and you're rolling them out, which is something else that I really appreciate.
Yep.
But it's like, I came here to write. I want to see what the writing experience is like. So let me do that. And I like that everything is very clean, very straightforward. It works the way you expect it to work.
Yeah.
And you could absolutely spend like 5 to 10 minutes with the program and fully understand how it works and get into it and start using it in a meaningful way, and not start out with a example document that they have to walk you through of how to use the software, you know?
Yeah. And I'm kind of, I will admit I am tech illiterate when it comes to writing. Like I do not want too much tech in my writing space. I just don't want it. And I don't want to feel like I'm at a job. I do
Yeah.
not. And what's great is we do use Ellipsis throughout, the Ellipsis uses Ellipsis all the time, right? So I am using it for my job all the time now. But when I've had other jobs previously, I didn't want to kind of go home from my job and then write my novel. Like
Yeah.
you're on the same in Google Docs or Word.
No, that makes sense. And I think it's such a testament to like you really believe in the product that you're creating when you're like, I want to use this product all the time. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
kind of sketchy if you're like, yeah, we create this product for writing, but I still use other things when I
Totally.
need to.
We always want to make it better because we want the experience to be better for us. Like, new features that we're rolling out actually today, the ability for anybody to merge a draft together when you're writing with somebody else. And we did this through writing our blog posts. I'm writing most of them, but we also have a lot of collaboration that goes into it. Kate, our marketing lead and fantastic all around product person, is giving me some great insight, and she can't merge this draft, but I can. And now I have to wait around for this. Wouldn't it be better if we all had the same privileges right now? So we brought the permissioning up to that par. We're always iterating on our experience, and also obviously the writers in our community's experience. When we started out, the first thing we did, obviously we went, we have our own opinions as writers about what we want to see in the tool, but immediately we went into the interview phase, talked to tons of writers, like starting in our own communities, workshops that we've done, et cetera, and then branching out into other areas. I've been also a long-term fan writer, so there's a lot of inroads with those communities. I've always
Yeah.
been embedded in them for many years, right? I've been writing fanfic for a long time. We had a great pool of fantastic writers to talk to, and the first thing we did is just find out what they wanted in the writing tool.
And I love that because I personally have found that the writing softwares that are really the most beneficial are the ones that actually talk to the writers and are very clear and have community forums like, hey, upvote or tell us what you want and upvote this, and so that
Right.
we can prioritize the things. And I prefer using software like that. So the thing that I really do love about Ellipsis is the fact that you guys are so frequently rolling out updates. Like even
Mhm.
from the time that I signed up to the time that we're recording this, right?
Yeah.
You guys have rolled out so many feature updates, and it's just like, oh, okay, like this is actively growing and actively listening, right? Like the fact that you emailed me after a couple of days, it was like, hey, we saw you signed up. Like, what's your experience like? And you were an actual person on the other side, and it wasn't just like a robot, right? It's like that's so nice. So just so you guys know, if you're listening to this, one of the things that I absolutely love about Ellipsis is I love that you guys have a folder system,
Yeah.
which is so wild. But there are so many softwares that just assume that you want everything that you've ever written it's just like lined out for you. I love the organization system. I love that you guys have a dark mode that's super easy to switch between. Like it's just a little toggle at the bottom versus having to go all the way to your settings or have it be
Yeah.
dictated by whatever your computer settings are. I
Yeah.
love that. And I love, like you said, the collaborative features because I will admit, I am very much an isolated girly, but I do let my husband read all of my stuff. So it's beautiful to be able to send him a link and then
Yeah.
he could just look at it, read it, and we could like chat because he doesn't write, but he's very vocal, kind of like
Yeah.
what you mentioned with your partner. And it's just like, it's nice to have these things in line. So it's just like, oh, I can come back to this, right? It's for for the rambling to stop. I'm going to say it's like the best parts of like leaving comments on a Google Doc, but
Mm.
better because it's just trust me, it's a better experience. It's a better experience.
Yeah, it's funny though, like, we always said that, collaboration doesn't it's a later stage process and everyone always starts writing isolated. Like I do, as well. I don't want anyone to see my work until I think it's like, as good as it possibly can get and before the input, right? Like that's just the
Yeah,
way it goes. So we wanted to take that into account as well. So the ability to write alone needs to be as good as the ability to collaborate and vice versa.
absolutely. Absolutely. So we've kind of talked about a lot of the questions that I had initially about Ellipsis, but now that you guys are like expanding it, right? It's not just for you and your partner at this point. You know, it's grown beyond that. What what kind of author do you imagine would get the most benefit out of Ellipsis? Because obviously you guys are still growing. There's
Mm.
still directional turns that you have to take in the future. But
Yeah.
as it is right now, who do you like? Who is your imaginary, like, this is the perfect person that Ellipsis is for?
I'm a firm believer in self-publishing as the best form of really what we feel is the future of writing. And the problem with self-publishing is that basically you don't have the ability to kind of have the institutional support around you. And so when we bring out like collaborative features, we're thinking about how does somebody do this with my beta reader, with another writer or a friend, not like obviously with the big five publishers, you'll send your editor like a PDF. That's the model. It's a traditional model. We want to make sure everyone can kind of find that experience and kind of and have that like a flat, egalitarian playing field. And
Hmm.
so if you need to do collaboration, you want to be able to make sure that it's easy, it's seamless, it supports you in your community. You can send this to anybody and get that feedback when you need it and have more communication as well. That's why we also put a chat feature in as well, so that you can kind of get that real-time writing and collaboration and talking experience. So a lot of writers that use Ellipsis have collaboration partners a time zone away. How does that become easier for you? Can you effectively communicate if your nighttime is someone's daytime, right? And you
Yeah.
all write at different times.
I love it. I love it so much. So if you guys are if you guys are watching this video, I do want you to know that I have actually been using Ellipsis for my latest project. So again, if you've been keeping up with the C Squared Chronicles on the channel, you already know what that is. But that being said, I can vouch for it and put like my own personal stamp of approval. I definitely think that this is a product worth using and getting into, especially if you are not locked into your current writing software or if you're using Google Docs. If you're using Google Docs, I demand that you move over to this right now. Just click the link in the description and move over right now because there's no reason to be living your life that way. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Uh,
We also brought out, I will say we also have import now as a feature.
See,
Basically, you
they
have
made
to
it easy for you.
Well, you have to import as Markdown, so it's kind of it's import 1.0, right?
Mhm.
If you have Markdown, obviously is Google Docs is fine. You can copy paste. You can import at this point now, right? And it will come in the same form. It has the same format. The only thing we're working towards now is getting, Scrivener files can
Mhm.
be imported as well in the future, hopefully, and also Microsoft Word. Those are the only two that don't do that. But you can have an intermediary where you can copy paste something from Word to Scrivener into Google Docs, import it from there, and it'll be the same format.
There you go. And keep in mind, you guys, that everything that we're talking about, at least as of right now, you guys are still in beta, right? Like when you sign up for it. So this isn't even the official version, and they've already got so many features. So, like I said, I have been extremely happy with it. So that's I'm not gonna rant and ramble and like make demands of you for this whole episode, but it is definitely something that I think is worth getting into. And I believe in supporting small businesses and growing businesses because Scrivener, people are always going to use Scrivener, and Scrivener is great, but Scrivener does not work for everyone. So if you are like, yeah, tried it, didn't love it, and then you went back to Google Docs because you're like, this is too much, yeah, there are more options out there for you, babes. There are more options. So that being said, let's talk about some of these features because we've been kind of hinting at it, and I've shared some of my favorite features. So I want to know, what are your favorite features aside from collaboration, because I know that's why you created it. So I'm not going to let you say that one, but what are your favorite features, and what features are coming up in the next coming weeks?
My favorite feature obviously is folders at this point. It was something that, we struggled to get in for a long time. I mean, long as like, we work on it for about a couple of months, like 5 months. But that's always been my favorite feature. I was waiting for folders, just breathlessly waiting for folders because yeah, I have a ton of documents and I want to make sure I can organize them effectively. Now we can see analytics on them, like who is invited to that document within it, how many documents are there, how many drafts are there, put it, folder descriptions, like so it's pretty effective, at least in its stage that it's in. We have other plans as well for the future folders. I love merge. Merge is a feature we set out. It was the longest feature to ship, but it was also like the first feature we knew we were going to build, which is, say I'm writing a document and I want to get another person's input on it. I want them to write as well. I have a collaborative, partner. We can branch off and have their own version. They continue writing, and when it's done, I can merge it back in, or they can merge it back in, and it becomes a very seamless kind of way of kind of dividing the workflow. That's always been a favorite feature of mine. Chat is great. I love chat. It's great when you kind of want to, shoot the shit. You want to roll a little bit. You want real-time feedback on the go as well. That's something I always love. That came from using, obviously, like iMessage to get feedback as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of writers we talk to use Discord. They have private Discord groups.
That's me.
It's like sometimes you just want to have that flow that it comes if you're talking with an editor or beta reader or co-writer, you want to get that real time, input. And so
Yeah.
it's something I always wanted as well in Ellipsis, and it was great that we could ship that as well.
So I'm excited about that because I definitely have what I call my author council, and they're just like my friends where I'm like, hey, and usually the way it is currently is like, hey, I want to send you a screenshot. I need you to read this, and then we're going to like talk about it, right? But I'm really excited to get to a point where it's just like, because I'm working on like a brand new project, so I'm not at the point where I need feedback just yet. But when I get there, I'm really excited to like invite them and like really get into like how chat works, because like like I said, I've tried it out with my husband, but he's not a writer, and it's very different talking to him versus talking to my author friends. Ben, if you're watching this, I love you, but you understand the difference, right? But that being said, as of right now, as of recording this video, it's still free to sign up, but
Yeah.
I am assuming that it's not going to be that way forever. So like, where is Ellipsis planning to go from here?
So Ellipsis, the features that are in Ellipsis right now, and basically another 10 or 15 features that we want to ship as well, will always be free. We always want to have that free model, which is what it is. The features that we're planning on, monetizing are things like end-to-end encryption. That's something that I think no other tool really offers. That's something we feel pretty strongly about, just for safety, privacy, information. You never know where the political systems are going to be headed, and I think that everyone should feel comfortable knowing their work is safe. And then things like attribution. And attribution is something we've been thinking about as well since day one, which basically allows you to see who wrote what, to kind of protect against things like plagiarism, to know where the work came from, but also to say, oh, I wrote this part of this section. If I have five co-writers or whatever, like they can see who wrote what. It's very easy to kind of understand where the work has gone, sorry. It also protects against things like if something was copy pasted from like ChatGPT, you can also see the source of that. And if you turn it on, you'll be able to get like more information about the document. So kind of more high level features like that. Also, we do have a cross-platform ability, so you can use Ellipsis on your phone. But
Yes.
it's not technically a native mobile app, so it's not a fully fledged app. It works as well as the desktop version. I actually think it's a little better sometimes as well. I think the layout's really great. So you can in fact write on Ellipsis on your phone, on your iPad, everything in between, Android included. But we do want to build out a kind of fully functional, offline capable mobile app in the future. And that might be something that we put behind a paywall as well.
I love that, especially the end-to-end encryption. Like that really intrigues me because so many software, right? They're moving towards, we've got the online cloud, and then we've got AI, and you can import add-ons and things like that. But the fact that you're like, we are here for security, especially as authors, because like, let's be real here, we all have the terrible nightmare fantasy of, oh my God, someone's going to get my work and then they're going to steal it and publish it and be super rich, and I'm going to be out here as a pauper, and it's not going to be fair, right? So I'm really glad. Also, that is a fantasy, you guys. That is very unlikely to happen. I just want you to know that. But I love that you guys are prioritizing like security and like real human interaction.
Yeah.
And I also love that you are prioritizing like an actual breakdown, like where did this come from? And especially when you do start getting into, like beta readers, or if you have, I'll say an editor, but like, I don't know if you guys have this experience, but like sometimes your editor will suggest changes and you'll just be like, oh, that actually sounds great. And then like roll with it. So it's just like, it'll be nice to be like, no, this is something that just to have it for your own reference, even if it's not like it's so much that you need an attribution for when you
Yeah.
publish the book, but just knowing like, okay, even if you're like, oh, I might need another editor because I feel like this one didn't do a lot, you can go back with it. Well, no, like a good 2% of this book came from them. But all that being said, I do want to talk about one other thing, like specifically, because we talked about this before we started recording. But one of the things that you guys are sponsoring now is the Stygian Society's Order of the Written Word. So I'm kind of curious because if you guys are watching this, it's November. It's not too late if you want to write your story or what have you, your poem, short story, whatever, for the replacement of NaNoWriMo, because there are like dozens on the internet now. But slight plug for the Stygian Society. I did publish a short story with them. It's burned in the Stygian collection. So there's a link in the description box if you want to check it out. But all the people over there are great. They're wonderful. And they organize the Order of the Written Word to encourage authors to write authentically. And what is it? Are we called artisans now? I think we're called artisan authors at this point.
Human authors, that's it.
Yeah.
God,
So
it hurt so bad.
but they're encouraging that, and there are prizes and things as well to get into. But Rex, you guys at Ellipsis are actually sponsoring them, which I think is really cool. So like, how did that come about? And are you guys participating, I guess, as authors yourselves?
Right now we're so busy, unfortunately. I think so. I've been working on the same project though for the last 2 years, and unfortunately haven't made too much headway because Ellipsis is taking up so much time. But
Fair.
and still working, still trucking on my novel. But yeah, we basically wanted to support as many alt nanos as we possibly can find. But yeah, like just being able to get invested in any community in which that's sponsoring, just the idea of people just coming in and writing something in a month, which is still the most beautiful idea, really, in my opinion, for kind of any writer from fledgling to, published multiple times over. Yeah, we want to support any way we can, and you just want to be able to say, do your thing, write your work, and be proud of it.
I second that 100%. So, as you guys know, I've been saying this throughout, but there will be links to all of the things that we're mentioning and discussing down in the description box. So, please, please, please actually take the time to click on it, go to it, check out for sure Ellipsis. Like I said, sign up. As Rex said, there's always going to be a free version, which I also really, really love because there are so many softwares that have a paywall to entry. So you have to oftentimes feel like I am this level of author who can like
Yeah.
officially invest into
Yep.
a writing software. So Ellipsis doesn't have that barrier. So like truly, sincerely get into it. And also the way the website is, it's so clean and minimal. It's just, it makes your brain happy. Okay. Just, I'm done.
My degree comes in handy yet again. Shout out to Orna, our fantastic designer. She's been with us for 2 years and she's incredibly talented. So yeah, a lot of props to the team.
It's a fantastic team. It's a fantastic team. So I did want to ask you that. So this may be out of order, but how long has Ellipsis been or like around and open to the public?
So we've been around for almost 2 years now. We went into our open beta though, I believe in the spring, but we've been in closed beta though first, and we went into open beta in June.
Awesome. So still relatively new to the wider audience. So I love this.
Same team for the whole 2 years. It's really fun. We have basically a bickering family atmosphere and a lot of love between us.
But I feel like the best ideas come from a space where you feel like you can both be creative and impactful with your work. So
Yeah,
I love that it's a team that you can like trust and actually build with because as someone who is also like an entrepreneur in other aspects, it's like, yeah, you really need people around you who you can like trust, but who also believe in what you're doing enough to be like, hey, I think you should do this instead, or I think this should be the priority, or I think we should move in this direction.
exactly.
And there's a lot of trust there. So I'm glad that you have a great team behind you.
Collaborative team. You're always going to iterate and always going to collaborate on basically anything we put out.
Love it. Love it. So that being said, I think I've asked most of the questions that I wanted to ask you, but I wanted to kind of leave off on, is there anything that you wanted an author who has watched all the way through this video to know about Ellipsis before going off into the ether?
I mean, I guess as a writer, this is kind of the tool that I always wanted to use. It's not, I don't just say that because it's a tool that we built. It's just that we want to be able to support writers at every stage of the journey, and so, yeah, you don't have to be a published author to use it. You don't have to know a lot of things about, technical details about writing tools and so on. If you just want to write and you want to be able to communicate with, collaborators a little bit of a better way, then yeah, this is open to you, and we hope you use it, and we hope you find a lot of use for it.
Awesome. If you guys are interested in Ellipsis, last time I'm going to say this for sure, there's a link down in the description box. You can also just go to ellipsis.com and sign up, click around, find out what they're about, find out their story, check out the team. They have all that information there. And I think digging into the website for yourself is also a really great way to understand why it is that this is such a great product. And also, like, just from my perspective, why I personally think it's such a wonderful software. I am very big on a low barrier to entry, and this is clean, it's minimal, it's free, and there is not a severe learning curve. If you know how to use Google Docs, if you know how to use Microsoft Word, you know how to use Ellipsis. And if you are a creative person and you are trying to, like Rex said, make that jump from I'm not just using the same products that I use at work or the ones that I use for school, and you're really trying to carve out a space for your writing time, I really think Ellipsis is going to be a great software for you to try and invest your time in. That being said, I'm not going to continue to rant and ramble. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching this video. Rex, thank you so much for coming on to the channel and talking about it. If you guys have questions, can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can go into our Discord. We have a link to the Discord on the website. If you ever have any questions or comments, just send us a note. Also, if you ever get in touch with us through the Help Center, rest assured it will probably be me or Kate on talking to you. It is real human behavior. So yeah, you can basically ask us anything. We have a lot of great places on Discord to kind of say, these are some features I'd like to see in the future, and you'll be heard and we'll discuss it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So at this point, you guys know what to do. If you've watched all the way to this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you have nothing to say, you can leave a brown heart down in the comments, but for sure, let us know if you're going to check out Ellipsis, if it sounds interesting to you, if you've already tried it, what do you like about it? Let us know. Let's have a conversation down in the comments. But that is it. Thank you guys so much for being here. And until next time, you guys, I hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye, you guys.